there you go, Gary. That's Gary Gramolini just going to town over there.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, here we are, live at Jimmy's with the Newport Art Scene radio show. And playing on the guitar over here is Gary Gramolini. Gramolini. Awesome.
Gramolini.
What's the correct way to pronounce that? Did I pronounce that correct?
Yeah, Gramolini.
Gramolini. All right, so Gary, let me ask you a few questions. Because this is really about you,
Okay.
and mostly about me. Okay, but so since we're both in the same place where it's about us, let's make it about us. So Gary Gramolini, the musician. Let's talk a little bit about that. Okay, how long have you been playing music?
I've been playing music since I can remember. So I started playing music when I was 5 years old. My dad had a guitar, and I think when I was too young to remember anything, I used to sit on the couch. My mom, he'd come home from work. My mom would hand me off to her and my brother and sister, and we'd sit on the couch, and he'd practice his guitar.
Right.
And so I grew up watching him play guitar, and as soon as I was big enough to hold it, I picked it up and started messing around with it myself. And it's in my genes, it's in my bones.
So I play guitar as well as myself,
Yeah.
and I picked it up when I was 9. Okay,
well, yeah.
And I know what it's like to sit at the edge of your bed or on your couch and practice a succession of chords, that G, that A, that D, and to practice the movement of that. And there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that. But I also think that particular time in your life when you're formulating all that, you start to grow some character. Okay?
I guess, yeah.
So the first question about we're going to talk about where you came from.
Okay.
So as you're sitting there on the couch, you obviously started to figure out you can write songs. You don't have to play someone else's, right? You can start to write some songs.
Mm-hmm.
In your best recollection, I'd like for you to share with us what your first song you ever wrote, sitting there on that couch with your mom and your dad, or if there was a song that you can pick right now that reminds you of your youth, of one of the very first songs.
Well, I didn't...
Sort of lead us into it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I didn't really start writing songs until I was probably, pushing 30, which
Really?
was a long time ago. I was more like I learned it very early on that I had a good ear, so I was really good at listening to something and knowing how to play it.
Right.
And so I got my first band, which started when I was in junior high school. They got me involved because I could sit down and listen to a song and tell everybody what to play, and it would come out sounding like the Animals, or it would come out sounding like the Rolling Stones, or it would come out sounding like whoever we were trying to learn the song by. So I got really good at that, and it wasn't until we had Beaver Brown together and we started writing music in that band that I wrote some songs. And the first song I ever wrote, I wrote for the Beaver Brown band, and I used to sing it. And we did that, for 2 or 3 years, and then John decided he wanted to just stick with the songs that he was going to sing. So we stopped singing. And the first time when the band started out, we were all singing.
Right.
And then eventually we evolved.
So what was the name of that first song?
It was called Monica.
Okay.
And it goes something like this. I haven't played this in decades. Lightning strikes, the world stood still, a halo or something beyond windowsill. And diamond eyes, and a kiss in the dark, young and soft and willing, Lord, it broke my heart. And it burned like fire, and it's cold as ice, and I'm not so sure I want to pay the price. She got the power, and I got the key, and it sure looks like a way out. Don't it ring like silver, shine like gold? It look like part of something about 1,000 years old. I need you, Monica, need you, Monica. Am I strong enough? Can I lift it up?
Hey, so
keeps on going with the guitar solo.
So that was written for the Beaver Brown Band? I think I remember it.
It was written for me,
right?
And I just offered it to the band, and it came out really good. So we played it, and I used to use a Rickenbacker 12-string on it, so it was really really kind of cool sound. But anyway, we did that for a while. I was trying to write songs for a good long time. I have a lot of songs that I've written, but they don't always get performed because I tend to produce things, and I end up hearing this big orchestration in my mind, and so in order for me to get them to come out, I got to sit down with the 5 or 6 piece band and teach everybody their parts like I grew up doing. So the songs that I do now that I play that are mine, I've learned to write them with a trio in mind.
Right, there you go.
Which is
what you're doing now.
Challenging, but you kind of have to, in order to be effective, you have to put limitations on yourself, so you don't, say, okay, I want strings and I want French horns and I want timpani, You got to say, no, I need a drum kit and a bass player and a drummer and a guitar and maybe a saxophone or a piano.
Right.
And strip it down to that, and trying to make it sound like the songs that I play now anyway. So.
Well, I want to move. I'm going to shift a little bit. I'm going to go about our next place where we're going to visit is Where You've Been. Okay.
Where have I been?
Well, now with you, we have to. We the obvious place for us to go for you is the whole John McCafferty Beaver Brown
and the Beaver Brown.
Now, do you ever think about like that particular period? Because that was kind of like a time capsule, where you had about as much fame as you could actually want. I would say it's at one point in period that band was, especially when the soundtrack came out, and that whole period of time. I mean, what was that like to go from where you were to there?
Well, it was like being on a rocket ship,
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing felt like that. There's nothing like chasing a hit record around the country.
Oh, I hear you.
We just had so much fun. The first time we went around the country after that Eddie and the Cruisers record took off and people started buying the album, and we charted into the top 10 with a couple of singles, and the album made it to the top 10, and then we were used to playing. Up till by then, we had been together for maybe 14 years or so, and we played mostly between, Portland, Maine, and Washington D.C. That was where we played before we broke into the national.
Right.
It broke with the Eddie and the Cruisers record, and we were really popular from Washington D.C. to Portland, Maine, and into New York State, and we just had a lot of fun. We weren't making any money, but we were having a blast.
I bet you were.
And everywhere we played, John Cafferty, Mike Antunes, those guys are just masters at working a crowd, And John's a great talented songwriter, great frontman, good singer, great singer. And we had a band that just had a lot of chemistry. When individually everybody was talented, together we were like 10 times what we were individually.
Now, when you were on that rocket ship and you were in the top 10, okay. And you went from playing one size of a room to another size of a room, which I'm sure that grew exponentially at that particular period. Mm-hmm. What was one of the largest places that you remember playing?
Outside. Nothing's bigger than outside. The biggest crowd I think we ever played at, I think it was 4th of July, 1985 or 1984, thereabouts, at an Air Force base, a decommissioned Air Force base in South Carolina, and there were 300,000 people there.
Wow!
And it was just, it looked like Woodstock from the stage.
I was like,
we played a lot of outside gigs where there were 50,000 people there. We did one up at Otis Air Force Base. It was in the 90s. It was well after the records, but we went up there and played. We opened up for the Beach Boys. We did a lot of shows with the Beach Boys. We became pretty good professional friends with them for a while.
Right.
And it was 4th of July. It was 4th of July.
Right.
It was like 95 degrees out, bright sunny day, and up at Otis Air Force Base on the Cape. And it was just one of those special gigs. We went on, did our thing. The place went crazy. The Beach Boys came out. We'd go out and do some songs with them at the end of the show. And, it was just. Really a golden moment,
Well, the reason I ask you that question is because I want you to share with us the song that you remember playing on one of those final encores, one of those very large shows. I know you've only got one guitar, you don't have the whole band.
Yeah.
But I'd like for number one for you to take us back, and number two for you to go back to that moment and kind of share with us that song that you would have been playing.
What did we do for encores? I don't know. The end of we'd do. Oh Jesus, I don't know.
There you go. See, I'm taking you there.
Well, you're talking about when Beaver Brown was playing.
Yeah, when Beaver Brown was back, and the John McCafferty and the Beaver Brown band. You're out there You've got your 300,000 people. You're getting ready to do your last encore. What song would you guys have gone out there and played?
In those days, what did we do?
Because you would have already played Dark Side by now.
Yeah, we would
maybe
have
a
done
couple
Dark
times.
Side. I mean, we'd end with City. I mean, I don't know. What do we do? We'd probably do something by Little Richard. I mean, which John would sing. I mean, he'd do like a wop bop a loo bop a wop bam boom tutti frutti, oh Rudy, tutti frutti, oh Rudy, tutti frutti, oh Rudy, a wop bop a loo bop a wop bam boom. Got a gal named Daisy, she almost drives me crazy. I got a gal named Daisy, she almost drives me crazy. Knows how to love me, yes indeed. The girl don't know what you're doing to me. Tutti frutti, oh Rudy, tutti frutti, oh Rudy, tutti frutti, oh Rudy, tutti frutti, oh Rudy, tutti frutti, oh Rudy. Wop bop a loo bop a wop bop bop.
Wow.
And that's sort of what we might have done.
Right.
We've done a lot of shows with that one.
Now, are you still when you've got your trio and you've got your buddies that you're still all playing with, and you still got your gig going on here, and you're still sharing with us Rhode Islanders that music that you've written and shared with us for years. Now, do you still play Dark Side?
Yeah, Beaver Brown. We will do that second song of the night every night.
Could you share some of that with us right here live
Dark
right
Side?
now? Yeah. We want. I mean,
I usually don't sing.
It'd be kind of crazy for us not to ask for that.
These aren't songs that I do with my band, though. How's it going? Dark side calling now, nothing is real. You never know just how I feel. Out of the shadow, she walks like a dream. Make me feel crazy, make me feel so mean. Nothing gonna save you from a love that's blind. Slip to the dark side on that line. On the dark side. Oh yeah. On the dark side. Oh yeah. When the band kicks in and Kenny Joe Silva hits his drums and the water explodes up in the air and people go nuts.
Yeah, when you play that, man, it reminded me because I remember listening to that song on 8-track, okay, out at the airport, okay. I was at the airport over at the Newport Airport in my Camaro, okay. I had a 69 Camaro, okay, and the roof was down.
Yeah.
Okay, and we watched the little planes come
that's
in,
a car.
Okay, and we'd be listening to that song, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, that's got to take you. I mean, for you, I'm sure that particular period in your life where you were playing that whole Washington D.C. to Portland, Maine. Like you said, you weren't making much money, but you were having a great time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the world was at your command. You were playing all over the place. Now, did you go over to Europe at all?
We never really did much in Europe. We went to Japan a bunch of times.
Yeah?
We never played in Europe. The gigs just never came in for us over there. Nobody on our team was ever brought any days for us to play in Europe. Either that or so it wasn't cost effective or something.
Right.
I don't know. We did the country a lot. We played America a lot. First time around, we toured the country in vans. We had 15 passenger vans and a couple of trucks, and we just kind of caravaned around the country. We slept in the vans, and that was great until we got west of the Mississippi. It was about a 10-week tour, and the first 6 weeks we were east of the Mississippi. So, we'd do our gig. We'd get out of the gig at like 3, 4 in the morning and drive 3 or 4 hours to the next city. But when we got west of the Mississippi, the cities were 10 and 12 hours apart. So we started flying the dates, and we gave the vans to the crew, and they lived on that.
Now, I know what that road's like because I've done that road.
Yeah.
Okay. In the beginning, that's exciting.
It was great.
But after a while,
yeah.
I mean, you're standing up on stage until like midnight, and then the following night you're 1,000 miles away. I often think of that Jackson Browne song. Okay,
yeah.
Where it's an 11-minute long song. Okay, and it's really about him. Don't take my piano until we're ready to move.
Right,
okay, because this is who defines me. This is where I'm standing here. We're sitting here with my piano and playing is what defines me.
Yep.
And I'm just like, it's interesting sitting here. That guitar defines you. I mean, it's connected to you.
It's my best voice.
It's your best voice.
I communicate better with my instrument than I do by talking.
Now, you had mentioned that you played earlier when we were talking before we went on the air, we talked about all the old bars here in Newport. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Patrick's. Now you're one of the very few that still has ever mentioned Patrick's to me. Everybody remembers Dorian's. Everybody remembers the Electric Elephant and the Point and a Half. But Patrick's, that was right up here on William Street, right where Sardello's is, okay? Yep. That was a great bar.
That was such a great time playing there. And that was our first gig in Newport. And that was the first summer we were together. We got a gig over there. Pat Maha ran the place. He's an old friend, and he loved us. We came in and we lit the place up, and we played there every month for the next year anyway.
Now, you were college kids then, were you not? Or just out of college?
Out of college, yeah.
Okay.
Just out of college.
Now, so I
was 21,
I'm reading your bio.
I turned 21 that summer.
Okay,
yeah.
Reading your bio, you essentially were considering doing something other than music in your life, right?
I went to college. I did 3 years and studied biology. I was pretty smart. I was good at math and science, I
thought that was kind of a interesting choice. When I was reading your bio and I says you studied biology, okay? I mean, you couldn't have gone as far away from a study of biology, but you were playing music at the same time.
Yeah, look at what's his name from Queen there, the guitar player Brian May. He just got his doctorate in astrophysics.
Yeah.
I mean, people that play music, I think it makes you smarter.
Yeah.
I like to think that. Don't always act smarter, but at least you can think.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about where you're at now. Okay. Now I know that we're getting ready to next Wednesday on May 9th down at the Blues Cafe. We're going to do a taping of 4 episodes of Newport City Limits, and I feel very honored that you've decided to do an episode with us at the Blues Cafe, and you're going to close the night, okay, with the 4 bands that are going to be there. James Montgomery's going to open, and you're going to close. I couldn't ask for a better show, okay? But let's just discuss where you're at as far as your music now, okay? Let's move beyond. You're still playing with Beaver Brown, correct?
Yes, we
What is Beaver Brown up to these days? You still have John McCafferty playing with you?
John McCafferty, yeah, John and I go back to 1972. We started the band with Kenny Silver and Pat Lupo and Bob Catoya, and Mike Antunes came into the band about 1976 to play saxophone. So the 3 of us were there for the big ride, on the rocket ship.
Oh, that was a rocket ship ride.
And Mike and John, like again, those guys are just immensely talented people. Tunes is a force of nature. He's like, nobody plays like him. I don't think anybody ever will play like him. You can ride his horn like a horse. And John, I've never seen anybody work a crowd like him. He's just a master entertainer, and he's sincere about it. He's not put on. He's just a really honest, easy to like, charismatic guy, and it's a pleasure working with him.
That whole movie changed everything for you guys.
Yeah, well, it changed it in many ways. Yes, it did. It made us more successful. It gave us an opportunity to play the country. It kind of morphed us in a way towards a little bit different thing. Prior to that, we had aspirations to, we tried for a long time to get a record contract nationally with a whole big body of material. We had a double album worth of material. It was all thematic. It was East Coast rock and roll.
Right.
We were growing up in the '60s, going to the beach, fast cars, women, rock and roll music, and we were doing that with John's original material, and the band. We all came up listening to the Rolling Stones and Motown and the Beach Boys and the blues and Elvis Presley and Eddie Cochran and all that formative stuff, and we all knew the same stuff. So all we had to do is play a little bit of something, and everybody else would be right there on it. Mitch Ryder, And,
oh yeah, Miss Ryder. There you go.
You know, that was one of our big songs. We did The Devil with the Blue Dish. We did Sock It to Me, Baby, and Too Many Fish in the Sea, and C.C. Ryder, and all those great old.
It must have been nice to have the other guys that went on the trip with you. Because sometimes I've been finding that sometimes now as I'm getting older, I look back on portions of my life where I had these huge successes going on, and sometimes you look back on them and they start to get a little hazy a little bit. But when you see people that were on that journey with you, it clears things up.
Sure.
You know, because you know, you could be sitting there, you could be in your riff, and you look up and there's John. Okay. Sure. You know, even today, I'm sure you still. Hey, wait a minute. We went on that journey together. We know what happened, and that was a rocket ship ride.
Sort of collective, you know, thing that the memory that you have of it. You know, it's part of who you are.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's in your genes after a while.
So where are you musically now? And share some of that with us.
I'm playing in just about anywhere that I can. I have my band, The Grinders. We've been together for 10 years. That's D.C. Culp on drums. Usually it's John Litwin on the bass guitar, but he's been getting a lot of work over here in Newport, as a matter of fact, with some other old friends of mine, Frank Picciarelli and George DiLorenzo. They play every Friday and Saturday night at Clark Cookhouse, called the Foreverly Brothers. And they do gigs with us from time to time. And that's a lot of fun because, again, you know, we all come from the same musical place. So all you got to do is start something, and it'll just happen. You know, you don't even have to.
Well, give us a song that you're playing now when you guys go out together.
A song that we're doing in my band, a song that we will do, is an old J.B. Lenoir song.
Okay.
It's called Mojo Boogie. And it's
Well, I've been to New Orleans and I sure had a wonderful time. Well, I've been to New Orleans and I sure had a wonderful time. I was high as a Georgia pine. My auntie took me on down to Rampart Street. She said I met everybody that I wanted to meet. She said, son, stop looking, listen to me. You know they got something that'll knock you off of your feet. They got the Mojo Boogie, Mojo Boogie. They got the Mojo Boogie, go dancing, I don't like.
So, what's your favorite place you're playing nowadays? I mean, are you mostly in Southern New England still now, or are you still doing that whole Washington D.C.?
No, I mean my band, I myself, mostly Southern Rhode Island, southeastern Connecticut, Massachusetts. But you know, that's just the way the market is right now. I'm a kind of an uncompromising player when it comes to things that I want to get up and sing. So I choose what I want to sing. I play it the way I want to play it, and I try to make it come out the way that I experience it myself, and I trust that if I can do that, that the audience will be entertained, and so consequently, I don't mind the right down the middle rock, you know, cover band thing that is so popular in the bars in Rhode Island, and you know, I just can't seem to make myself do that, so I stay true to myself, and you know, I try to get the guys that I'm working with to trust that, and they do. And we work pretty regularly, but not as much as I would like. And consequently, you know, I, like a lot of other people, are doing other things.
Right.
You know, tonight I'm playing with an acoustic duo with another old friend of mine, fabulously talented guy named Tommy Enright.
Right.
He's a local legend, and it's a privilege to be working with him. With him and me playing guitar and singing songs. And it usually is very interesting.
Well, you seem like a very collaborative kind of guy. You like to share the stuff. You like to hear what everybody else has got and got to offer. Okay, and bring to the project, or even bring to a song for that matter. Yeah. Okay, and you seem very flexible.
I think you have to be nowadays. You know.
Well, I don't know. I know a lot of musicians who aren't flexible.
I try to be. You know.
You know. So, but that flexibility is probably what's is probably brought you to this place. This is are you in a good place right now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My life is great. I never stop learning. You know, to me, that's my life. You know, I will never stop learning how to use this thing. Because it's, I feel like I'm just at the tip of the iceberg. You know, and I've come to accept that that's who I am. You know, there's lots of other things to learn, but you know, I go here whenever I can.
Well, you're totally exactly what I expected, because I hadn't met you. You know, and it's funny because I met somebody the other night. We were talking about James Montgomery. And I've known James. Actually, the first time I met James was in Detroit in 1973 when we were.
That's where he came from. Right.
When I was touring with Santana, 74. I mean, and James did an opening with them, and I saw him for the first time there. And I didn't see him for like 30 years after.
I'd love to have seen that.
Okay, he was and he was young and strapping, like blues. Harmonic, as I said, and then one day when I booked a show with him, I'm standing next to him, and I said, and I just said Detroit '74, okay, and I told him the song he played, and he looked at me and said, "You were there." I said, "Damn, all right, I was there." I said, "Why do you think I even walk up to you like I know you?"
He's a hell of a performer.
And I was kind of applying that to where you guys are sitting on, the Beaver Brown and John McCaffrey. They got 300,000 people, and you're getting ready to start your set, and you got your fingers on the frets, and you're ready to go, and you just look up for just a second, and you don't look at the crowd, but you look at each other, and you're all just there's just this silent thing that you say amongst yourself, "Oh my God, look where we're at."
Usually it was more like, count to 4, let's go.
Let's go.
I don't think we ever walked on stage with any sense of fear. It was all.
I doubt
we were
you
pretty
did that.
fearless when we walked out because we trusted what we were doing.
Right.
We knew that as soon as the first note came, it was going to explode. We just had an explosive band, and that's the reason why we stayed together as long as we did, because.
Well, you had a commanding place in that group as well. I mean, lead guitar's kind of a commanding place. You're kind of the guy out there that says, "Okay, let's go." Okay, I get this huge sense of confidence from you. Okay, that you're like a rock. You're as confident. Nothing's really going to scare you. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 people or 300,000 people.
Take that
okay,
as a compliment.
because you really trust your music. You trust what's going to come out of you.
Yeah.
So finally, the thing I would like for you to do is I'd like you to share with our listeners, okay, one final song, okay, that we might hear at the Blues Cafe on next Wednesday, okay, and then we'll close out at that point.
Well, I just played one of those.
Okay,
that
well, give me
song
another
I just did Mojo Boogie. That's
Mojo Boogie, we'll be hearing that.
We'll be hearing that.
Okay.
What else are we going to do?
And I'm going to close out. This is Newport Art Scene, and this is Gary Gramolini. We'll be seeing him over at the Blues Cafe on May 13th. And I'm Tom Erb, and we're going to close out with a song from Gary. And until next time.
What are we going to do here? Trying to remember what I have in this set. First song. Song by Buddy Guy.
I said, "Hooey, baby, you know you really look so fine." I said, "Hooey, baby, you know you really look so fine." A girl like you would make any man change his mind. Honey, when you walk, you shake like a willow tree. Honey, when you walk, you shake just like a willow tree. A girl like you would make a fool of a man like me. Let me love you, baby. 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 You're driving my poor heart crazy.
And thank you so much, Gary. It's been a great having you on the show.
Thank you, Tom
We look
Erb.
forward to see you on May the 13th down at the Blues Cafe. This is Tom Erb, your host, signing off.
Hey! Gary and the Grinders.
All right.